What's good, everybody? It's John. I'm coming back at you on another video. So this video, I wanted to talk about why you should avoid feelings of guilt and feelings of regret. Any of those negative emotions, right? Because a few reasons, right? The first being is what you focus on grows, right? What you put your attention on is what continues growing and expanding. And so when you experience feelings of guilt, let's start with guilt first, right? When you're experiencing feelings of guilt, then what you're doing, you are essentially focusing on the past. And oftentimes, when you feel feelings of guilt, it's because of events that didn't go your way or events that were quote unquote bad. It's you focusing on the past. And so, if your past wasn't to your liking, then focusing on the past, all that'll do is just create more of the past in your future because that is where your attention is on, right? If your past wasn't the best and you want to create a better future, you need to put your attention on something else. You need to put your attention on either the good moments of the past, right? If you want to recreate those good moments again in your future, or you need to put your attention on the future so that you can create those good events, right? Feelings of guilt. When you feel feelings of guilt, and it's the same idea with regret, because oftentimes we'll look back and say, I regret this decision. I regret doing this. If I could go back, I would change that. What you need to understand is that the past already happened. Now, of course, I understand we're humans and there's certain things that we've probably done in our past that we're not the most prideful or proud about, right? We all make mistakes, right? However, living in that regret, you can't go back and change that, right? Whatever decision, whatever happened, you can't go back and change it. But what you can do is that you can learn from it and be better. What you can do is that you can learn from it and move forward. So when you feel feelings of guilt and regret, what you're doing is that you're holding yourself in present moment, right? A prisoner of the past. But also you're essentially vibrating negative emotions because oftentimes when you feel guilt and regret, you feel bad, you feel sorry for yourself, you feel, any negative emotion under the umbrella, right? That's what you're feeling. And you're essentially, because you're vibrating that negative emotion, you're creating more negative events you're attracting more negative things into your life that are at the same vibration, right? So what this means is because you're feeling guilt and regret, then what you're essentially doing, you're attracting future events in your life that is going to have you feel feelings of guilt and regret. And it could be in the form of attracting those same past events to yourself in the future, or attracting new events in the future in the form of, people, events, and circumstances that will have you continue feeling those same feelings of guilt and regret. So don't feel guilty about, like, you want to try to wash away that energy, right? And it helps to do that by, if you've been telling the same story, your same life story of how life was, you had a hard upbringing and things were challenging. If you continue telling that same story, then you're essentially reliving that same past over and over, right? You need to cleanse yourself of that energy. You need to begin telling a new story, or begin focusing on the good that's happening right now and the good that's on its way in the future. Or if you want to look at your past, you can revise your past and revise it with a new perspective and say, you know what, all of these quote unquote bad events that happened, it gave me additional insight and allowed me to grow as a person, and it brought me to who I am today, and it shaped me into the person that I am today, right? That's a way how you can essentially cleanse yourself of that energy, right? You don't want to, if the past was not good, you don't want to dwell in the past. But at the same time, you always have so much more to look forward to in the future. So you generally don't want to dwell in the past. But of course, if good things happen in the past, right? Like you've had good memories, things like that, you can think about those good memories and be grateful for that and be vibrating positive emotion. The most important component for you and your goal, what you should be focusing on all the time, is trying to is not trying, it is actually working towards feeling good. You want to manage your emotions and manage how you're feeling, because you want to be vibrating high. You want to be excited, happy, vibrating these positive emotions so that good things could continue unfolding in your life to allow you to continue feeling those same feelings, right? Another feeling that I probably didn't list here is about forgiveness as well, right? it's not uncommon for people to hold grudges towards other folks, right? Whether it's family members, whether it's, people who they previously considered a friend or best friend that probably did something to them that wasn't good, and they have a grudge on this person, right? Forgiveness is also very important, because when you forgive someone, you, you can forgive them for what they did, and, you know, try to improve things, your relationship with them, and be on good terms. But even if it's someone that you don't plan on ever speaking to again, or rekindling that friendship, you can still forgive them, because the forgiveness, it's for you, right? Like, you no longer, like, if let's say someone who was previously a best friend of yours did something bad to you, or they double crossed you, whatever, and you know that this is at the point of no return, right? You can still forgive that person and still choose to keep your distance or never speak to this person, right? You don't have to hold that grudge or hold that negative energy whenever, if you ever have to see that person or ever have to associate yourself or cross paths with this person, right? You can still not say anything to that person and still keep it cordial and still operate as though you're unbothered. And the point of forgiving them, that's for you. It's for you to cleanse that energy, because if you hold a grudge against somebody and you're always holding on to it, then you're essentially holding on to negative energy in your system, and that essentially will serve as a blockage for the energy to flow through your system, and for energy to flow like through you, right? You're essentially, it's literally a blockage. That's what that is. So you want to avoid feelings of guilt and regret, right? You want to try to find a way to cleanse that energy. But also, if there's anyone that you're holding a grudge against, you want to forgive them, because that is for you. That is for you to have to cleanse your energy and be positive and be happy again, right? It's hard for you to be blissfully happy and be grateful for the things in your life if whenever the thought of that person comes to mind, you just feel anger and rage, right? Like you want to get to the point where energy is just free flowing, that you're at peace, that everything is going well for you. And what you need to understand is karma is a real thing in this world, right? Because everything is interconnected, everything is energy, everything is one, everything on the planet is made up of the same substance. It's all energy. So karma is a real thing. So even if someone were to double cross you and do something that it's not ideal to you, you can still forgive that person with the peace of mind, knowing that karma exists and that whatever energy they put out, whatever harm they've caused, will make its way back to them somehow, some way, in a different form, right? It doesn't have to be you that needs to inflict harm back to that person. There's so many instances that I can think of in life where I knew of somebody that did something to someone else, and somehow, some way, that same harm that they've inflicted made its way back to them, right? It happens all the time. So this is why you want to you want to avoid or eliminate feelings of guilt, regret, and if you have any grudges, right, you want to do everything in your power to forgive, so that you can find peace within yourself. So these feelings of guilt and regret, these feelings are generally tied with the past. It's generally tied with people who continuously dwell in the past. And unless you want your future to be your past, right, then you should be focused on the present and the future. You need to let go of the story that you keep telling yourself. You need to let go of those events that happen and make peace with where you're at right now. Because whether you want to believe this or not, you right now are in the perfect place in your life to create. Because even if the beginning of your life or your past, right, if those were quote unquote all bad events, or majority quote unquote bad events, that just means you experience contrast. That means you experience what you didn't want. So now you're clearing your mind of what it is that you do want. So it actually worked out for you, because now you have more information about life and your experience and who you actually are and what it is that you want. So then moving forward, you can create the life that you do want, right? So feelings of guilt and regret, that has you vibrating negative energy, and that prevents you from moving forward because you're vibrating that negative energy, right? Same idea with forgiveness. If someone did something to you and you hold a grudge against them, that is essentially negative energy. That's a blockage in your system, and it becomes challenging for you to move forward unless you let that go. So forgiving that person, that doesn't mean forgetting what they did, right? It just means making peace with yourself and your situation. And even if you don't decide to retaliate or in any way, shape, or form, you can understand. You will know. You can make peace knowing that karma exists as a real thing, and somehow, some way, the harm that that person caused will make its way back to them in one way, shape, or form. And oftentimes, if it's someone that does bad things to other people, then they may have a history or a pattern of continuously doing bad things to other people, and then at some point, once again, it'll all catch up to them. So this is how you move forward in life, doing what you can to let go of any baggage and accept that right now you are in the perfect place, and from this moment forward you can now create what it is that you want. So this is why it's a blessing to make peace with yourself, and it's a blessing to wake up and smile and be excited, because every single day is a brand new opportunity for you to create, for you to go out and do something and accomplish something, or for you to start planting the seeds of what it is that you actually want to achieve or have or experience in this lifetime. And each and every day you have the opportunity to water it, to give it sunlight, to nurture it, so that the seed eventually sprouts into a plant, and then you can enjoy the fruits of the labor, right? The fruits of the final product of the plant, right? So that's the blessing right there, right? Avoiding the negative emotions, avoiding these feelings that create negative emotion, right? So then you can cleanse your system and experience positive emotion. And the more you feel positive emotion, the better you feel about yourself, the better you feel about everything. That's when more great things are going to unfold in your life, and you're going to have a blast here on earth. So that wraps up the video. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 1 million subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.